Okay, what's up, traders? Happy Monday. A little bit of an interesting day in the markets there, but I got my two good friends with me, Zach and Thomas. We're going to speak a little bit about some of the most overlooked trading strategies and how you can maybe apply them to your own trading. And we'll get right into it. Obviously, go check Edgeful out. That's a lot of the data that we pull up is going to be coming straight from Edgeful in itself. But yeah, what's up, Thomas? What's up, Zach? How are you guys today?
What's up, man?
What's up, James?
Yeah.
How's the
day been? Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy open to start the Monday, that's for sure. Kind of like similar to that. Remember this happened in August, if I'm not mistaken. This happened in August last year where there was those massive sell-offs over the weekend. You guys remember that as well?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, sometimes those sell-off days could be the best plays for me because I as much as I like taking it long and higher time frame stuff on SPX and ES, I love shorting it too because you just get very quick trades and on those sell-off days it can be really clean setups.
Sure. Okay, so how's your day been, Zach?
It's been good. So I took a trade on my E8 account, which is good because last week I put that into about 2% drawdown, which I talked about last week. And now we're back on a drawdown. So hopefully the rest of the week we can get ready, get a payout. And good day though. Market was definitely pretty crazy. Now it looks like we are going to get that drop. I think today might be one of the rare days where we get a double break on the initial balance. It's looking like it's probably going to be that today.
Okay, so Zach's obviously already brought up one of Edgeful's statistics there, that initial balance breakout report. We're going to speak a little bit about some of the overlooked trading strategies and what ones are we using and how can that maybe simplify your trading. I think a lot of the times traders try and overcomplicate their trading. Personally, I found that instead of just trying to keep it super simple. So I'm going to bring up my chart. You guys probably already know the one I'm going to use, but it's the previous day's range report with Edgeful. Keep it simple. So I'll give you one, Thomas will give you one, and then Zach's going to give you one as well. There you go. So it didn't execute everyone off the charts on the left. I was trying that now. Only two guys were coming up on the left-hand side, but that's working now. So the previous day's range report here, and I just want to show an example. I took one trade today, but there was two possible trades today. I'll probably miss this on Bitcoin. So I want to show you that you can use this actually on anything of here. You can use it on futures, crypto, forex, and stocks. So the previous day's range report, what does this actually entail? So if we take our previous day's highs, I'm going to look for continuations and previous day's lows for continuations to the downside. Pretty simple. You can see in the last year in Bitcoin, on a Monday, if we take out the previous day's highs, 69% of the time we get a continuation or green closing day, and vice versa for the shorts, 73% of the time. We can actually see that we broke through previous day's lows over here, which is this white dotted line. I've got that beautiful 15-minute 200 EMA trading above it as well. So price is looking pretty bearish here to end the close on was this Sunday? Sorry, Sunday into now Monday as well. You can see big sell-off actually from 102 back down to 98. So quite a big drop off there. And then I mean we stay bearish the whole time, get a pullback right to that previous day's low level, and that's probably where I should be looking for some shorts in continuation in the New York session. So that's how I see the previous day's range report. This is how I kind of looked to trade it. And another one that I actually was looking at today was EJ, which has actually been trading very, very nicely for me. I see we actually still holding the lows here, but has been trading very, very nicely for me. Look at this. We take out previous day's lows here in the London session, and then we look for pullbacks into that 21 EMA, and I'm looking for some continuations to the downside. So that's pretty simple how I'm using this previous day's range report, coupled with obviously VWAP, which Thomas will speak a little bit more about, and then the 200 EMA as well, where we're trading below it. But simple price action structure as well. So that's kind of my favorite report. That's kind of like what I would say if you're looking at anything specific on the chart, previous day's highs and lows. I'm going to swing it over to Thomas. What report, what strategy should guys be looking at when they are wanting to place trades or look at any strategies that if they're brand new to it?
Yeah, we already mentioned it today. I would say it's the IB stat because I think there's a lot of day traders that get sucked into trading the first hour, the first volatility of market open. And, people are blowing their accounts in the first hour where if we look at the IB stat, we know that 70% of the time we just want to do a single break. And so going to the chart here, here's Thursday the 23rd, because today is actually where we might get a double break. So that would be going against the initial balance stat. But if we look at like Thursday the 23rd, the black lines here are the initial balance. So the initial balance is the first 1 hour of the day. And we get our first breakout. And you can see price doesn't ever come back into that initial range. And then using a simple high of day VWAP, you can find multiple entry signals from any new high of day on the pullback. And all of these trades would have gotten you 1R, 2R, depending on what your stop size is. So I think the initial balance report is so important because I've been taking this price action course by Chris Cady that I think that you would actually really like, Zach, because it talks a lot about in-depth levels and like people like Adam Mancini. As I'm taking this course, I really start to see where they're getting their levels from. And what they talk about in the course is the first hour of the day is, the opening range. So they call the first hour the opening range, same thing as the initial balance. And then the second hour would be called discovery. And that's when we're getting first breakout of the range. And then the following hours of the day would be called validation. So where we're confirming that first breakout entry. And if you study the charts enough and you watch the IB, you watch price around the IB, like today, we already called it before we were saying, today might be a day where we double break the IB, and you can feel it, you can recognize the patterns. And then also on the flip side, when we're just going to break one side, you can have a generally a pretty good sense, especially looking at Mag 7 and looking at Nvidia, Amazon, Apple, like stocks that are really heavily weighted in the S&P. You can use that as a bias to help you trade the US indices. So yeah, I would say the IB is just an overlooked stat, especially because you just have to be patient to take advantage of that trade.
Could you maybe bring up that RB report? One of you
guys,
so we can,
Yeah, so this is the IB report in the last 3 years. We have a 68.7% chance of a single break. And I believe even in the last 3 months, it might have been higher. Yeah, look at this. So in the last 3 months, we have an 82% chance of taking a single break. And as a day trader, I mean, who doesn't want to trade with an 82% edge?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you want to that's a great thing that makes this back testing kind of so much easier on for us retail traders. And your Zach's, what report would your strategy would yours be?
Yeah, I'd love to get into it. First off, I just want to kind of build also on what Thomas was talking about with the initial balance. If we look at today's price action, okay, so we're on my chart, great. Obviously we can use the initial balance in the form of just looking at that stat, looking at a single break, knowing roughly 80% of the time we're not going to come down and take out both sides of the range. I mean, that's one of the most utilized ways that I view price action in regards to the initial balance. Another way, and I just want to show how powerful the initial balance can be, is, and this also probably goes to what you were just talking about with Chris Cady's price action course, who I love that guy. I haven't seen his technical analysis courses yet, but his podcast is great. Really, really great trader. Just looking at the relevant levels of the initial balance. Like if you see here this is the midpoint, right? So if I mark that off right here, this dotted line, that is the midpoint of this initial balance. And just watching how the candles are printing around this level. So if you see here, noticing this is a 15-minute time frame. 15-minute candle closures are significant. All right, they're more significant than a 1 minute or even a 5-minute closure, obviously. And if you see for a couple of hours, we could not get a closure back above the midpoint of the IB. So just understanding that, and also having the context of, we had a huge sell-off today. There are fundamental reasons why the market is selling off. There's some news in the tech sector. All of these things can help lead you to maybe thinking maybe today is a day where we get a double break of the IB. Just understanding the power of the initial balance. It's such a great trading range, and it's so simple. And Edgeful just gives great data on so many different ways to utilize this. But my favorite report lately is, of course, the ICT opening retracement, midnight opening price. So that is the 12 a.m. opening price candle. You mark that off on your chart. One of the cool things about Edgeful is that they also have custom indicators for all the reports that they put out. So if I put in ICT opening retracement, if you have Edgeful, you have access to all of these indicators. Really helpful, especially if you're trying to like learn the nuances of a report and maybe you miss some things. I find it really helpful. So it pulls up that midnight opening price. Now today is one of those days we might not get the retracement, but
yeah, that would be quite a heavy retracement. That's for sure.
It would be a heavy retracement. So it might not happen today. Today's a bit of an outlier day, but now these stats might not look as powerful as the initial balance, which to be fair, maybe they're not. The initial balance to me does carry a bit more weight than maybe something like the midnight opening price, but still opening below midnight, retracing almost roughly 70% of the time for the last 5 years, there's strong edge in that. 5 years of data and something happening almost 70% of the time is a strong edge. So a way that I like to use it is not just simply saying if we're opening below, I'm just closing my eyes and hitting buy and trying to trade up to the midnight price, but just understanding that if we are trading below midnight, I could look at the current price action that we are in a discount of the daily trading range, just in general, and vice versa. If we are trading above midnight, I like to look at the current price action that we are in a premium of the daily range. Now, of course, sure, you need other nuances and other confluences to find a good setup, but having that rule of thumb saves me a lot from taking off edge trades. So yeah, I really like the midnight retracement report for sure.
I love also that the midnight retracement report, you can do it by size. I find a lot of edge doing it by size, because if it's like on ES, if it's a 12-point or even a 20-point retracement, it'll fall in like one of the first two categories. And then there's days where, that's a 77% edge that it's going to retrace, or even higher.
Interesting. Yeah, so I just pulled it up by size.
Dude, every morning I go by size and I look at it by size every time, and then I plot whatever percentage it is on the chart, because I prefer it by size than just like by weekday or something like that.
Interesting. See, this is what I love about Edgeful, man. I personally have not even combed through this yet. They're always adding things. They're not just putting out new reports, which is great. They're adding data to some of the most popular reports, which I know the ICT opening retracement is definitely one of the more popular reports that they have.
It is, yeah. I would say also, obviously, that orb report as well that they do have. If you can just pull that one up as well, like that orb report's quite neat as well. But I think the main thing about, like I think the main thing that we're trying to say is find a report, one or two reports with Edgeful or any trading strategies. It doesn't really matter what strategies you're trading. You should be trading with data on your side, but that's why we always punt for Edgeful. But you should be finding some way that you are trading that makes sense to you. Evan might trade somewhere, Austin might trade somewhere, Tom might trade somewhere, Zach might trade somewhere that I don't agree with. And it doesn't, not that I don't agree with it. It's like I can't see it. It doesn't make sense for me. And it's like if you're trying to trade that way, it's like trying to start a business that you don't believe in. Well, you're not going to make money in that business first and foremost. So find a way that suits you, and then hone in on that. But this is this orb report that I was mentioning as well. Guys like playing that opening range breakout, and I know guys like Pax and Crudeli trade these as well, right? Why don't you guys have a look? I know you kind of do, but why don't you look at them as much, would you say?
Well, for me, you know what it is, man. I have a model that, I just know the nuances of my model. I look for the same thing every day. And once I find that handful or basket of reports that work for me, unless something really changes, I don't want to really deviate from my model and look for a million different things. But that's what's great about Edgeful is there's like you just said, we all have relatively different strategies, even though we might have some of the same concepts, but there is a report for any kind of strategy. I mean, quite literally, any strategy that someone's trading, there is data that can help add confluence to that model. So for me, I have my reports, and provided they give some new things or put new data out for those reports, I'll look at it. But I like what I like.
Sure. Yeah, and I think it's so versatile because Like, let's say price takes out previous day high, and so James is now looking to long SPX because we took out previous day high. However,
Sure.
midnight price is under previous day high, so Zach's model might be shorting SPX to midnight price while James is longing it because we're above previous day high, and then James can even use that midnight price as that report to say, okay, I want to keep my stop under this price, and he can use that as a stop loss level so that he could be going long as well as Zach going short.
Yep.
That was an amazing example. Even add more context to that. Maybe James wants to get long because we broke previous day's high, but he knows that we haven't retraced to the midnight price yet. So in order to not get caught up in a bad entry, he's going to wait for that retracement to midnight and then look.
Yes, and then play long.
Exactly.
So many ways to use them.
Agreed, and that's why also the the help of a trading group or community like we do have at ASFX and the Black Shirt Club, right? I mean, I've been trading with Thomas for over a year now. We met actually in person at the London seminar in 2023, end of 2023. And then Zach, we have not met in person yet, but I've known Zach for quite some time. So that is also the helpful nature of having a community, especially as retail traders. I think a lot of the times people don't actually see what it costs to, like, oh, well, I want to start a business, but I don't want to put out any costs before, and I'm like, dude, that doesn't make sense. Like if you want to open up a business, any business has costs. It's education in the trading space or community. Like I still pay actually for other people's like courses, guys like Stacey Burke, or if Credeli came out with something, I would too. But I still pay for things simply because it makes me more money. I actually subscribe to Mancini's newsletter, by the way. But because it helps me make money, and that's kind of like what I think HFull and these type of things, communities like the ASFX TV and everything like that is going, it just simply is going to help you make money trading. But yeah, if you haven't already, go check HFull out in the links in all of our bios. It should be in all of our bios. If you enjoy these type of, we'll keep them about 15 to 20 minutes long. These type of conversations, we'll come up with another topic for next week, and then we'll see you guys there. Any last remarks from you guys? What's your plans for the rest of the week in terms of what you're looking at, or you just take it day by day? But any other last remarks?
Yeah, I'm just taking it day by day. We got FOMC on Wednesday, so I will be taking it real slow. If I do trade Wednesday, I'm sizing down. But that's about it. Just looking to see how we find our next range in ES.
Sure. Yourself, Zach?
Yeah. Similar for me. I definitely want to continue these calls, these streams, because what we just went over with using the nuances of the previous day's high and midnight together. I mean, yeah, I love talking about that stuff. That's such a good example of how to use this data. But as far as like price action goes, if you remember, James, in our stream last week, I was talking about wanting to see a pullback on the indices.
You did, yeah.
So this may have been it. I'm going to be watching closely if we hold the low that we put in today. Maybe we consolidate overnight, but we don't take out the most recent low we put in. We also have an SMT bullish divergence between ES and NQ. So if we start picking up some momentum here, could be a bottom. I'm not calling that yet, but I'm going to be aware of that and still just trade level to level though from an intraday basis.
It's so interesting. The only stock, well, there's two stocks that are actually green on the Mag 7 today. Apple seems to be one of them, up actually almost 4%, 3.6%. It's going to be actually a nice buying pace on the daily time frame for Apple at 230. The highs are back at 260. So at the moment of all-time highs, we actually are sitting over 11% of all-time highs. So I might add to some more of my long-term portfolio on that Apple stock. But I appreciate you guys being on for doing this. As always, we'll see you guys next week, and then we'll take it from there. One day at a time, guys. One day at a time. I always find like when guys, week starts, everyone wants to jump into trades, and then from the get-go, you're behind the 8 ball because you're trying to play catch-up instead of trying to. I always ask myself, it's something I've really, really need to be better at this year. Was on my work on from last year. Is this my best trading setup? Because I'd rather be out of trade, wishing I was in, than in a trade, wishing I was out and getting kicked in the gonadas. So, I hope you guys have a good. I hope you guys have a good rest of the day. Thanks for watching.